So, talking about we're in 2024 now. It's incredible, and the fact that we've been in York for officially a year, just a couple of weeks back, really.
That's right. Yeah.
It's quite something. I mean, we've done I think one podcast here before properly, like officially, haven't we?
Yeah. What was it? The
It was no, Banshees of Inisherin.
Oh yeah.
I think we did that one here, didn't we?
Was it? Yeah.
And that was cool. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a bit of fun. What a crazy film. The more I think about it back on, what a great film.
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, but now we're about to go into April. We've just finished having a bit of Easter fun. That was quite nice, and yeah. So yeah, I'm just kind of dicking about with that. Really, I don't know.
Yeah, as we think about what we're going to be talking about in the podcast.
Yeah, well, I mean, whether we call this a podcast or just Dad and Lad ramble or something,
just a bit
like
of a banter.
Exactly. This is just kind of a bit of fun.
Or a bumble.
A fun end of the month kind of thing. That because earlier today we were talking about like potential ideas because my dad's obviously helped me. He's done the voice acting for the IASR, and quite a few people are quite pleased with that. They enjoyed your voice acting, which is really good. If anything, I'm thinking
bit hammy.
Oh yeah, but it just adds a little bit of fun to a story, doesn't it? And I think that's a big thing. I know you're potentially going to start making your own content as well, which will be exciting, and obviously we'll look into doing a bit of that and obviously promoting that whenever the time comes. But I just don't think you've done any making of it just yet, which is okay.
No, I'm still. There's so many different ideas that I'm interested in, and I'm just toying with them. I suppose I'm trying to, and maybe that's a mistake, but I'm trying to second guess which is gonna take out of the ideas.
Yeah.
Whether it should be a gimmicky thing or whether it should be something. I mean, what I think it has to be, for me, with my lifestyle, because I'm full time working, it has to be something that I feel like I can fit in fairly easily. Because then I won't. Because my fear is always that I'm going to start it and then not going to want to continue it.
No, that's
I'm going to get make excuses. Oh, no, I'm late one night. Oh, I can't bother that. And then another time, and eventually it disappears. So it has to be something which I feel is going to be pretty easy to fall into, easy to kind of do the bits and pieces, and which I enjoy. So I mean, I like talking anyway. I'm quite happy. I like talking about my life, myself, my events that I've been involved with, my interests, my hobbies, as you know. So if it's something that fits into those categories, then that's a key thing. But we've talked about things like, in the past we've talked about York, anything related to York and the history of York, particularly the pubs of York or the eateries, and
definitely,
and the paranormal aspect of things. That's another thing that's of interest, possibly.
Well, I mean, plus it's a big tourist draw for York, isn't it? I mean, almost everywhere you go, there's something advertising some kind of a ghost tour, a ghost walk, or a thing about the witches, or just pretty much anything, But it's yet again, it's a part of the history of York. It's not like maybe it's haunted kind of thing. It's like, no, there's like actual, haunted quote unquote places, and old pubs that got people that have died in them. You've got obviously the Guy Fawkes, and it's just. And witches yet again. I mean, the fact that there is a witch tour, and I mean, it makes sense because quite a few witches were put on trial in York. Kind of close to the Minster, I think. I'm not entirely sure exactly.
Yeah, no, I think that's right. That's right.
So
there's a few interesting stories.
Yeah.
Related to the Minster, and during whether it was a witch finder general period or whether it's the kind of the Tudor period or early days. Lots of superstition. There's quite a few stories out there. Yeah, well, York's so full of history in it.
Yeah.
So it's like endless stories, and going back over times. We can talk about the Viking times, the Roman times, the Tudor times. It's all physically still there. Mm-hmm. And the.
It's got like you were telling me, it's the most intact Roman wall. I mean, basically anywhere.
Yeah.
And it's true. I mean, it surrounds the entire city centre. Really, it is an impressive length of. And it is incredibly intact. It's not like, there's bits and pieces of it. It's like, no, this is a wall that people can go on, and you can go all the way around the city centre. It's an incredible piece of history that's amazing that it's so tangible, but it's still just withstanding the test of time, and it's just one of the. I could definitely see why people come even just for that alone. I mean, people go on the wall every single day, and I totally understand why. It's just when you really think about how long it's been there for, and what it's seen and what it's been through, and the fact it's been there far more lifetimes than humans. It's incredible. It's an absolutely incredible feat, really.
It is. And so, and when we talk about haunted pubs, I mean, there seems to be like every pub seems to be haunted in New York, and again, it's easy to make that claim because a lot of them are so old.
Yeah.
So it only has to be,
I think
years
Golden
old.
Fleece is the one that really touts it. But yet again, it's not like I'm not entirely sure. I can't quote it, but I don't think it says it from the outside. But it might say something about haunted pub. I don't know if it says most haunted pub, but it might say haunted pub.
Yeah.
Which I could believe that. But a lot of people who are like, oh yeah, York has the haunted pub. It's like, for some reason, that's the only one that I really can remember off the top of my head. But there must be others.
There's a ton of them in the Star, right by.
The old Star Inn, yeah.
That's claim right away. You walk through the down passages, and it's claiming hauntings. There's a few that walk by that actually just they're saying, oh, famously, ghosts of such and haunted this and that. So and places like there's places that have that character, and you think that they have that kind of creepy feel to them, like the Bluebell, the smallest pub in New York.
Oh yeah, which yet again, I mean, it is a small pub, but I still feel like there's probably an even smaller one somewhere because it's not that. It's pretty small, but
it's got a couple of rooms in there.
It's exactly the fact it has at least 2 rooms, and it's also probably got the bogs, which that's a 3rd room right there. I mean, that's not the smallest.
I'm sure there's places like even the modern bars. I think down the Goodrum Gate. There's that
They're
place.
Probably a bit smaller.
It's just like one room, essentially, like a cafe.
Exactly.
A glorified cafe that turned into like a micro pub or something.
Yeah, sure, I can absolutely believe it because I mean, I remember when I went to the Canaries and it was just outside our penthouse. There was a little essentially micro pub, but they had like 4 bar stools. They had the bar inside, but there was nowhere to sit inside. Just the 4 bar stools outside. They didn't have an outside seat. It was just that and the little window, and that was it. And you're like, well, how do you serve people drinks? It's like, well, mostly people just kind of stand. It's like, well, why don't you get more chairs? They go, well, there's no room. And to be fair, it's true. It was just like a little slimline galley kitchen kind of thing. Yeah, and you're like, this is crazy, but it was always busy. And I mean, I get it. It's just a cool feature, isn't it? But it is an incredibly small pub. That's what I thought Bluebell was going to be like. But then when we actually went, I was like, I mean, it's small. Small. But we can fit in, They've even got outside seats and stuff. I'm like, it's not really that small, is it?
No, I've been back in there, sat in the snug, and it's there's plenty of room. I mean, there's in the snug I've been there. There's been plenty of people. All right, it's not massive, but there's.
I mean, it was similar to the snug like Golden Lion. Like it's kind of small, but you could still fit a fair amount of people in there. It was surprising how much you could do, So it's
it's not that bad.
No, exactly.
So there was that. There was games. There was the Constantine thing, which I'm still maybe interested in doing at some point. There's the AI we've talked about doing. Talking about AI and rolling things like the robots that I'm interested into that, or any of the many hobbies. I mean, I'm kind of still dancing with various different ideas. And I keep, I'll be walking to work, or I'll be, walking down to the shop or something like that, and suddenly an idea pops me in and think, I could do some content on that. But I just haven't landed on anything yet. So, but I'm looking forward to doing that. When I do land on something, then we can turn, make a collaborative effort on it and
exactly
take it from there.
Yeah, exactly. We should have all kinds of fun and. I mean, you've even got the opportunity to do live streams if that's something you were more interested in, so you can interact with an audience, or you could just do things live, like I do on the Saturdays, where for the first bit we play games, then in the other half we just watch stuff and react to it and just talk, and it's quite nice actually, because at first it was like there's not really many people, it didn't seem like it had a lot of traction, but the more that my channel grew, and then more and more people are showing up, and I mean we're having. It's not a massive number. We're having maybe like 20 people at a time. But even so, that's when you think of 20 people in a room that are all digesting what you're doing and hanging out with you. You're like, actually, that's a fair number of people.
Absolutely.
It's quite impressive. Even just a couple of people, as long as they're interacting with you, it makes a massive difference. And you feel like, okay, I'm doing something that gives value to these people as well as myself. And then I like to think of it as it's not really work, because it's not exactly paying a lot of money with the live streams, but it's just fun. It's just nice. And then yet again, the beauty of it, the fact that we're not monetizing live streams, is that if we want to watch things that are copyright and stuff, we could do it. It just means I'm not going to make ad revenue off of those, which is fine. I don't really care because it's for the people really. It's just a nice time.
Well, it's just an extra dimension for you.
Yeah, exactly.
For your fan base, for your consumers. If you want to call it that.
Yeah, however they wish to be branded, that's exactly. Fine with me. Exactly. I don't really...
people out there.
You fuckers. I'm allowed to say that. It's been more than 5 seconds. So.
Okay, so we can start swearing now.
Yeah. Well, we can monetize this episode, so that's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
Let's see if we can make at least 3 pence.
Well, I mean, we'll probably make 12 pence out of this one.
Yeah,
because this is a newer video, so people will expect more out of it. Yeah. Even if all we're doing is just talking back and forth, some people will probably listen to this and just enjoy the bit of banter while they're drawing and things like that, or while they're just carrying about their days. As I learn, a lot of people digest my stories that way, and you know what?
Just have it like as background.
Yeah, and so the way I see it, I'm like, you know what? Power to you. If you're listening to this while you're drawing, you should let us know in the comments what you're drawing, because or I don't think you can share the picture in the comments, but in my Discord server you can share a picture there, and we'd like to see that. That'd be quite cool to see what you're working on.
Exactly. What are you working on?
Or if you're falling asleep to us, then I hope we don't give you nightmares. That's all I'm saying. That'd be quite funny.
We can't promise, can we?
No. I'm not promising. I'm not liable.
Because it just might go dark. You never know.
Yeah. Well, it's allowed. It's fine.
So we talked about, one of the things was the pub thing, which I still like lots of things. Lots of ideas we had around pubs from coming to York, really.
Yeah, but I mean, York is full of interesting pubs, and I think that's what makes it a lot more desirable, is the fact that it's not like you just go to a town and you go on a pub crawl and stuff like that. I mean, you can go on a pub crawl here, but it's going to be a very eccentric and interesting pub crawl. Just
varied and vastly varied, and there's so much to choose from.
Exactly. I mean, we can list off a couple of our favourite places now, just because we can. I mean, the Hop is always a good one that comes to mind, because it's got nice pizza. It's always got a good selection of beers. Obviously, we don't know about the wine, but it's just good for basically everybody. And I think that's why the Hop is probably a top suggestion for people who come to York. Are like, you know what? I'd like to know a good place to go that I could maybe even go with my family, but still have a nice beer. The Hop, 100%.
Nice atmosphere.
Solid recommendation.
Got a nice family atmosphere as well.
Yeah, it's near the bus stops as well, in case you're coming by bus.
It's close to Stonebow.
Yeah, exactly. So from there you can go up towards Parliament, or if you want to go over towards what's the... I've forgotten the name.
Where the Spark is.
The tower,
Clifford's Tower.
Clifford's, that's it.
Yeah.
I was thinking King Richard. I'm like, I don't know why the fuck I'm thinking that. King Richard's Tower. What is that?
Maybe you're thinking of Cliff Richard.
Maybe. Maybe. I don't know where the fuck I was going with that. King Richard. What the hell? Yeah. But I mean, that's over in that direction in case you're looking for.
You might go there.
Yeah. But Spark is also an interesting choice. But it's yet again, it's one of those incredibly niche things which is very exciting, and it can be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's just, if you're looking for really good drink options, unless you're looking for cocktails, it's a bit iffy on that.
It's a bit thin.
Yeah.
Unless you're looking for craft ales out of a can.
Which are pretty overpriced.
Yeah.
Cocktails are all right though. But yet again, it's overpriced. It's a fun gimmick. It's definitely something that I think is worth doing if you've never been to a shipping container village.
Oh, and make sure your phone's working.
Oh yeah.
And you're able to use it
because
properly.
otherwise you're not getting anything.
Yeah, you're ordering through your mobile phone,
and you might sit with strangers. But besides all that,
it's great.
It's really good.
If it's not raining.
Yeah.
But no. I mean in winter, or in summer. In summer when there's no canopies over the top. Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it's got like a variety of street food and stuff like that. So it's a bit of fun.
It's cool, and the thing is, if you're in a party of people, what's cool about it is that they all like different stuff. That's the beauty of it, because
then everybody can get what they want.
Yeah,
you just
on the same order
through the app and stuff. Exactly, it's perfect. So there's a good reason for Spark. I do enjoy it, but it's yet again not something I would go to every day.
No,
definitely. I'm kind of liking this recommendation spree, Ron. I feel like we should carry this on.
You're rolling on that,
yeah.
Well, I mean, our place, the place that we go to most frequently, and most people would probably like as a pub anyway, in general, would be Wetherspoons, just a bit further down the street from there.
Yeah.
So Spark's on Piccadilly, which, so that's where you're going to find Primark and shops like that, and a few nice, interesting cafes. But if you go further down, I guess it's towards the outskirts of town, towards the town wall. You're going to get a bit of a walk, I must admit, from the main part of town. It's you get to Wetherspoons near the little cheaper hotels like the Travelodge and what else is down there? I think what is it? It's not Premier Inn. I think it's a Holiday Inn.
Holiday Inn. Yeah, Holiday Inn.
Yeah, so it's a nice little
Wetherspoons. And next to the Travelodge as well, isn't it? The Wetherspoons. So it's It's good if you're looking for those kind of hotels as well, because it's probably going to be over there. I mean, they got the nicer one as well. What is it? The Marriott, I think, as well. But
that's down there, is it?
I think so, or it might be a Hilton. There's not. It's
I
opposite
think
Spark, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a. I know I was on the bus the other day. I noticed there's a Marriott. Is it on Blossom Street? Is it? Or is it Blossom Street? Is it up on the way up to the towards the races, up towards the race courses? Or actually at the race courses, the Marriott there.
Yeah.
Which doesn't look like a Marriott, like a typical. I'd expect to see in the States, like a big concrete thing. It's an old-fashioned building that's been obviously being co-opted into the Marriott chain.
So it's had the Weatherspoons touch. Take an old building and put something in it.
yeah, exactly. But so that's Weatherspoons. If you're on a budget, because York is not cheap.
No.
So going out for a few beers, it is not cheap.
No,
so.
It's definitely a special occasion, or as most people like to do, a hen do.
Yeah. Especially people from the northeast of the country.
Oh yeah. Or from Leeds.
Yeah.
This is their treat.
If you're on a budget, then Weatherspoons down. It's a pretty decent Weatherspoons that's down there. You've got to get a couple of jars down before you start off, and
exactly. And it's got a little outside area as well that sits on a river, so it's not huge, the outside bit, but it's still nice. A little beer garden.
Yeah, it's got a nice little atmosphere.
Yeah, it's a Spoons. You can't really argue, can you?
No.
You know.
So if you go back up. From
back to
the hops, like say, and
back
the street
up towards Stonebow and Parliament Street.
Yeah, and what's the street that the hop is on itself? I think it's called. I forgot.
Is it Fossgate?
Yeah, it might be Fossgate.
It might be
because I was going to talk about Fossgate Tap.
Yeah.
So we talked about Bluebell, which is literally opposite the hop, the smallest pub in York. But then just a bit further up, you've got the Fossgate Tap, which we like because it's kind of the kind of thing that we like is that. A good range, a good choice, and that varies, it changes.
Absolutely.
But the modern kind of local craft ales. So you got that at Fossgate Tap. You got that at Trembling Madness.
Yep.
You usually got a bunch of guest ales and they're all local craft ales.
Oh yeah.
And lots of hazy IPAs, which is the kind of thing that we like, or strong beers, a bit like the Belgian style beers.
Yeah.
But all locally brewed from Yorkshire. And then the other pub like that that we've come across so far, and there may be more in York. Is Pivney. So those three pubs in particular, Trembling Madness, Pivney and Fossgate Tap, they are great for that. They've got fantastic range, on tap, local brews, craft ales, which they change up quite a bit.
Absolutely.
And not cheap.
No. But you know, it's an experience, isn't it? You know, and I mean, Pivney is across from Valhalla, which is probably one of the most popular pubs in York. Not to say it's one of the best, but you know, a lot of people would argue it is, but it's more definitely one of the most popular because it's always got some kind of a queue and a bouncer, pretty much 24/7.
Yeah,
and it's nice inside as Valhalla. I mean, it's quite you know,
it's a bit thin on choices for beer.
Yeah, no, it's not
two pretty small bars.
Yeah. Well, it's more of just the aesthetic and the gimmick, isn't
and
it?
The atmosphere.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. Which I think is a big draw for people. But yet again, when you've gone to like House of Trembling Madness instead, not the newer one, but like the classic old one. That's absolutely full of just an atmosphere that you're like, holy cow! It just takes you back in time, basically. Which is like you got a massive taxidermy wall. You've got like all kinds of cool candles. It's so nice.
You got the view of the Minster through the top kind of loft.
It's just tremendous,
window.
And they've always got just a vast array of such interesting things to drink, which are basically always in rotation.
Yeah,
it is expensive. But you will have a fantastic time. It's just such an experience.
Two particular sets of beers that and we might talk about the pecking order of beers in a bit. I think that's worth a conversation.
We might end up busting out beer before we know it.
we might have to. We get ourselves a bit of an appetite.
Yeah.
Wetting up here, but two of the types of beer that I particularly like. I love my Belgian beer. Always have loved my Belgian beer. The stronger ones, and of course there's hundreds. So it's kind of the top kind of 5 or 6, the most well known, the Duvels, the Westmalers, the Delirium Tremens, things like that. They're the ones that I like, and Chimay. And I like the as I said before, the craft ales in particular. You know, some of the local breweries like the Vocations, the Northern Monks. I've become very fond of the Salt Brewery. These are all local to Yorkshire. Not a big fan of Yorkshire, and I'm living in York, and I'm a Yorkshireman. Not a big fan of Yorkshire, but what I am a big fan of is some of the beer up here. It's just since I've been back up here in the last few years, absolutely awesome.
It's a stellar collection. It's definitely evolved over the years. When would you say? Did it look like it was kind of really starting to emerge that, you know, it was going to be a lot more fun beers and breweries and that to try out?
For me, it's probably I mean, I didn't get exposed to it until we came back up north. We only came back up to Yorkshire in 2018. I didn't get properly engrossed in it, exposed to it. Prior to that, it would be through Patrick, who obviously is in the industry, so he is in touch with lots of landowners and things like that. So landlords, and pub owners and restaurant owners. So he's in the serving the hospitality industry. All his clients are in that, and so he'd always be trying out new stuff because as he'd do, going to being a sales guy, sales manager, be visiting his clients, and they'd be saying, "Oh, you try this and try that," and so he knows I like beer, so he'd be when I was in Cornwall, even when I was in the States, but certainly when we were living in down south and we were living in Cornwall, he would bring me occasionally, or when I'd come and visit, he'd say, "Oh, come on, try this. I know you like your beer, so here, try one of these, try one of these." The main thing I remember that he introduced me to, and this would have been probably, it had to be, I don't know, so like 2014, 2015, something, or maybe 2013.
So after 2011, we'd say.
Yeah.
Is when you really kind of first started finding out.
That's when I first started hearing about this kind of stuff. But that was Punk IPA. So now Punk IPA is Now that's like, it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So that's not a kind of little quirky little thing. That's a big, massive brewery now. But that's the first time I started to notice that he was introduced me to these things that I actually really like that. So when I tasted it the first time, because it reminded me of American beer, it reminded me of stuff like Sierra Nevada that I used to really like in America, kind of yeasty, hoppy beers. So I would say after that, so probably in 2015, 2016 is when he started to introduce me to some of these things. But obviously since it came up in it was the scene was obviously well established. Yeah, by the time we came up in 2018, so it would have been in the middle 2010s to 2020. I think
probably when it really started exploding into popularity.
And these Yorkshire breweries, the smaller Yorkshire breweries, started to come into fashion. But what I was going to say is that so the thing about Trembling Madness is it's always got that collection of Belgian beers. All my favourite Belgian beers always got them, behind the counter, and it's got all it rotates the various craft ones. It's got all different. But the key thing with Tremens, the Olean Tremens, I think, among the many things I like about it, I don't like the fact it's very touristy and it's often cramped and you can barely ever sit down, and the service can be a little bit sluggish. But actually, it's not terrible. It just feels a little bit not focused.
I think it's the fact that they themselves they understand obviously their business and they're trying interesting new things, but I feel like they weren't ready for just how explosive the growth would be for them. You know what I mean? Because I mean, when we first were kind of coming to York, and especially when we first moved here, it was kind of maybe busy, but I wouldn't say it's been as busy as it has been. Yeah. Like I'd say within the last year, we've definitely seen it be a lot more busy. Almost every single time we go in, it's much more heaving, and you could tell they can deal with it, but you can tell maybe they're kind of getting worn down by it, and they don't really have the capability of properly dealing with it.
I mean, they try to deal with it's got a little small bar up there, and I just said little and small.
And they do food and stuff now, and it's like you're shooting yourself in the foot by trying to have fancy stuff. Have some real simple things.
It's a bit crazy, and they've got a feel for me. I've always felt that the bar staff there, they've got the kind of a barista feel to them more than bar staff.
Yeah,
they're kind of young, trendy, hip.
Absolutely.
That's kind of, and they're sort of a little bit aloof. I would say that.
I mean, they'll still get the job done, 100%. You're totally right.
And they're cool. Anyway, but the one big feature is they don't, because it's hidden away on top of a shop, but it's the shop downstairs because they've got just about anything you can think of. And essentially, if there's something it's not behind the bar, they don't have it. There's any brew that you're thinking of from anywhere around the world. So at times I've done this with DT Red, which is now one of my favourite beers. If you don't have it behind the bar, you can go down the shop and you'll buy it in the shop and pay corkage behind the counter, and then they take it upstairs and they'll open it and pour it for you.
Yeah. So you can essentially have almost anything you want.
Yeah.
So long as it's within the premises.
Yeah.
Which is
generally
it's fantastic.
It's got such a massive selection.
Absolutely fantastic.
And then in the cellar they've got all the gins
liquors,
and wide variety of.
Cool. It's also where the toilets are. So if you're bursting for a piss, you're all the way at the top floor. You have to go down 2 flights, which, by the way, the stairs are a bit awkward.
Yeah, pretty quirky and a bit steep and a little bit. Yeah,
I don't hate it. I still, it will always have a great place in my heart, I think, because Trembling Madness is a special place. It really, really is.
It really is. I love it. I'll definitely. It's going to remain at the top. It might have others meeting it. I think Pivney is getting there close to it now, and Fossgate might start getting up there.
I don't think things will be replaced. In my head, it's like there'll be a little cluster of things at the top, and they're all there for a reason, and they can't really overtake each other. I think it's fine for them there to be just favourites,
Absolutely.
That's just how I am with a lot of things. I don't have any. It's hard for me to pick a top 10 of anything, because it's like I have a lot of things for various reasons. I like this, I like that, and it's like, these are all really up there. And I can't really bring myself to... Yeah, exactly. I can't be like, that's the one go-to 100% all the time. I struggle with that.
I like doing that, though. I like doing that.
I know
it's
you
kind of
do.
Fun exercise. because I know it's hard to do that, but it kind of... If you force yourself to do it, then you kind of... It creates some... The tension that's created from that, having to make a decision on something like that, it gives you all kinds of things to talk about. I mean, what are the pros, what are the cons? Why would that be slightly better and that's slightly better in that way? And then who's, in the end, what's the more important thing and who's the winner?
I can see that.
So I think that's kind of fun. Anyway, so we've talked about probably our three favourites, and it's because of the fact that they have the beers in particular that we like.
Oh, yeah.
But there's also plenty of pubs in York that we don't like. We just don't like the look of. I'm not going to say we don't like, because we're being a bit prejudiced here.
Well, I think before we move on to the ones we don't like, we've mentioned Pivney. And we've mentioned that it's across from Valhalla, but I think we should also kind of talk a little bit about Pivney as well, why it's a special thing.
Absolutely.
Because for me, aesthetically wise, it's kind of similar to Valhalla. Not quite as intense as Valhalla, because Valhalla's just over the top with it, which is, I think, their whole shtick. And Pivney's got a great selection. Yeah, it's yet again expensive, but a lot of things in New York are, so that's why it's not surprising. But they always have some really interesting choices. There's always like one or two really special ones that like, ooh, okay, that's what I'm definitely in the mood for today. And although they're not really supposed to pour you a pint of it, you can, but it's going to cost you an arm and a leg. But
I think the best example there of an expensive why York can be expensive is there at Pivney, and also the fact that they have some really special ones. So as I mentioned before, DT Red is my favourite beer at the minute, and that Pivney is the only place in New York I've seen that actually. And this is when I started really falling in love with it. I liked Pivney before, but I fell in love with Pivney when they noticed that they've got it on tap, or they started to do it on tap.
Oh, that was it for you. You were just like, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. It's a winner. It's matched Trembling Madness right away. There's only one other place in Yorkshire that I've been to yet that has or in England that has DT Red on tap. But the key there is, as you say, I mean, really they're supposed to serve it in schooners or in a third of a pint. But if you want to really get a pint of that, they'll tell you.
They will tell you that it will cost. But they'll luckily tell you how much it'll cost.
I think it's like, I want to say it's like £12 for a pint.
But there's a reason. It's strong and it's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which is it's a big draw. It's a big draw. The Belgian stuff is just God.
Especially when it's on tap. I mean, that is so special.
Yeah, nice and chilled. It's fantastic.
I tell you what, the first time we went to Pivney, it was recommended by somebody in Trembling Madness.
That's right.
And it was because of they had a particular Belgian beer that I like. They said he's had it on tap. I think it was Westmalle. They said they had Westmalle on tap.
Yeah.
And we got there. Turned out didn't anymore.
Not at the time. Yeah.
But that's interesting. It's actually that is
quite funny.
Took us there in the first place.
Yeah, and it's also interesting because that's how we also found out about a different Creek Rouge beer that you like, which Castile Rouge.
Yeah, Castile Rouge. Yeah.
And yet again, it's like it's Trembling Madness does kind of force you to sometimes sit with random people because they got this one weird snuggy part where it's a massive table that it's just confined in a little weird area.
It's square as well.
Yeah, it's square
table.
But you can fit like 10, 12 people around it. And the thing is, you might have two random people there, and then before you know it, there's 3 or 4 groups of people in this one just horrific snug, and it's not comfortable. But conveniently,
and there's only one entry, so anybody who wants to go, they go all around the table, squeeze past people, and go out. Oh my god!
So, and you end up just talking to people who are there, and that's how we ended up finding out about Pivney and Castile Rouge and stuff. It's it's nice when you're kind of put in a situation where like, oh okay, well I mean if this is what's going on, you don't really have a choice, fine. But it also helps that you get to have a drink with it as well, and you're going okay, well it's a bit more enjoyable now, and then you just get chatting with people, and I think it's a nice experience really. It's not exactly uncomfortable.
No. So Pivney is an unusual name, and we've remarked on that fact. So exactly, remember why it's called Pivney? Or?
I think there is a drink named Pivney. I remember that because they've got it hung up on the wall. I think it's annoying they don't serve it.
Yeah, I've not seen it.
I think that's the worst thing they can do.
I have no idea what it is either. Maybe some sort of lager or...
No.
Sounds like it might be Eastern European.
Yeah, some sort. I wanted to say Russian maybe, but it definitely sounds Eastern European, but I don't remember. I remember that it's got like a metal sign that says Pivney and it's the branding and stuff. Don't remember all the other info on it. Yeah, but we haven't been to Bivney in a little while, so that could be why it just not fresh in my memory anymore.
So Fossgate Tap is the other of the three.
Yeah. Let's go back to where we were actually.
3 Majestics, and that's that's what brought us to the topic of that. Because again, they have all such a fantastic collection. In particular, I noticed that the Vaults? Is it the Vault City?
Vault City. I think they had 2 Vault Cities when we went that one time.
And there's been more than that on occasion. So the thing is that the Vault City, in terms of again a brewery, if you've not used it before or experienced it, if you're viewing in America, which I know some people probably will be. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to come to England. I don't think they serve as far as America, but Vault City have such an amazing, weird collection of beer, but
incredibly
fantastic,
sweet.
Very sweet, and it tastes
very
gorgeous.
Flavorful. I mean, you wouldn't believe it's a beer, but that's I think that's obviously what makes them so special is the fact that it doesn't taste like beer. It tastes like you're drinking something.
Yeah, like strawberries and cream or banana and
like
something.
Blueberry donut or some shit like that.
Something bubblegum, whatever. All
they've
kinds
got
of
very eccentric flavors, but the key is you know how a lot of beers are like, oh yes, this has like hints of grapefruit and this and that. It says it's a flavor, but it doesn't really taste like the flavor. Vault City 100% tastes like what it sounds like. It's like having a dessert in a can, but it's beer. And it's so incredible. It's very Moorish though. Like I wouldn't have more than maybe 1 or 2.
No.
But if you have a sweet tooth, 100% you should be drinking Vault City. 100%.
So I think the reason why it tastes like that, or at least this is what I was told. I was introduced to Vault City for the first time. Again, my brother Patrick. But we were at a beer festival at a brewery near Leeds in Farley, another good brewery, local brewery called Amity. And they have an annual beer festival, and one of the last, I think it was the last year we went to, Patrick and myself, we were trying the various things, and we tried this rhubarb or whatever it was. It might be in banana, lemon and something other, but we just like instantly both of us like, oh my god, that's amazing! And how is it? Because we're used to trying all the other various local brews that claim to be this flavour or that flavour, and then you just get a slight hint of it, but it never quite works. Or else, if it works, if the fruitiness works, the beer doesn't really work. So on this occasion, it was just perfect, and we couldn't stop drinking it. And then we was chatting with a guy, and I think he was a guy that works at the brewery. He said, "How did they manage to get it? How did they manage to get it working like that?" I said, "Well, to start off with, they put tons and tons and tons of sugar in their mix with it." Oh, okay, so that's really not very healthy.
No. But then again, beer is not healthy either. So if anything, if you're going to drink it, you might as well enjoy it. Yeah. And I think that's a niche that Vault City are filling. I think that's they found a little gap in the market where they're like, I like the idea of beer, but I hate the fact that beer doesn't taste like what it says. Yeah. And I think Vault City were like, yeah, you know what, we're going to be those guys. And I think that's such a smart thing. And their beer is nice. It is very nice.
It is. So if you're going to Spark, we mentioned Spark earlier, you might find that in a can. But if you go to
Fossgate Tap, literally right down the street from it,
it's going to be on tap.
And
there'll be a
nice.
couple of different ones on tap. And there's so many variations, but there'll be a couple on tap.
Oh yeah.
And it'll be dear. But
but it's also yet again something to try.
Yeah,
it's absolutely. I mean, if you've never tried Vault City, you've got to try it to experience it and be like, yeah, that's strange, but I really like it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to a beer, which is so moving away from our stuff that we really like.
We're moving up Parliament now.
Or just generally moving around the town is I would say that you want to. Some of the places are going to be harder, even the places that we like, it's going to be harder to find those really cool. Like you're going to get a salt brewery beer in the hop. So they'll sort of like I'm a fan of Duke, which is a hazy, very very one of the best hazies. You're going to get the places we've talked about, Fossgate Tap. You're going to get some really good stuff. But as you move into the more mainstream, you're going to get less and less of the kind of local crafty stuff, and you get more and more of the mainstream stuff. We're not that keen on. But because we're a bit picky, because we can afford to be picky, we can be beer snobs. But the what I was going to say is that there are some session beers these days which I think really work really well. And a lot of the pubs have them, even the mainstream pubs have them. I think one that's the most common would be Neck Oil, which is a session IPA, which is
Beavertown.
It goes down, it goes down really well. Is it Beavertown Brewery?
Yeah, very nice.
That just goes down really easily. If you like IPA,
and luckily, I mean, that's you can find it in a fair few places in York. Surprisingly, in a Golden Fleece, which we at first thought we probably wouldn't like it. It looks like it's a bit of a too old school kind of a pub. It's one of the most haunted that we've mentioned. And it's actually surprisingly a nice pub. It's got a nice little beer garden, and yet again, it serves neck oil. I think it does have maybe a couple of other ones that are all right.
Yeah, I think so.
A lot of very common kind of things, but the fact they had neck oil, we were both like, oh, you know what? Okay, no, we can work with this.
Then another one that's cropping up, which I like even better. I do like neck oil. I could drink that all night. It's an easy drink, not super strong. It's a session IPA. So.
Yeah, exactly.
But the one that would be for me,
it's good if you're sick of having a typical lager and you want something a bit more interesting. Yeah,
absolutely. And if you for me, a beer that I prefer even over neck oil and is a little bit more generally obscure, but is also starting to creep into a lot more mainstream places, is Northern Monk Faith. That's becoming quite a common beer, which is great.
There's a lot more Northern Monk these days, and I think it's really nice actually.
I do like that. That's a lovely hazy as well.
Yeah. Or if you want the more session based version of Faith, it's just a little bit of Faith, which is honestly still really really nice, because I think we had that
a little bit stronger.
Quite recently. We were like, this is nice. You can't go wrong. I think that was at Fat Badger. Maybe we had that.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah. Oh, we had around the corner. There's that place. I think they had it there, a little bit of Faith, but I think they've switched it to normal Faith now.
Oh, okay.
So have we been there twice? We haven't been there twice.
What, Fat Badger now?
No, this one down the corner.
Oh, Red Goat or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
We've been twice.
Okay, because I've noticed that on one occasion it was a little bit of Faith. Yeah. But the next time they got proper faith.
When they did the speed quiz. Yeah. And we accidentally had a few too many. And, I'm not going to say we got roped into a speed quiz. It's more like we put ourselves in a speed quiz to help out a team. Yeah. And to be fair, I thought we did pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just it's impossible as our speed quizzes. They are too fast.
Yeah, especially when you have a few beers.
Yeah.
Stronger beers.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that was just us having a bit of a laugh, wasn't it? We weren't really there to win. It was just a bit of fun and another reason to have another drink. So
give it a shot.
Yeah.
Give it a shot. Anyway, we've veered quite a long way from the centre when we talk about the little red
near us. Yeah, I think it's Red Goat. I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I think it is Red Goat.
It's Red something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's Red Goat. And it's opposite Laythorpe Asda.
Yeah.
For those of people that actually know the way around.
Our local shop that we don't tend to go to because we prefer Morrison's.
Yeah.
So Asda's fine, but it's a small one.
Absolutely. So I'm less keen. So we're back down at Fossgate Tap and moving towards Parliament. Just as you cross the road, kind of running parallel, the street that goes parallel to the Fossgate, the Piccadilly, which is I've already mentioned. It's where the Spark is further down.
That's right.
But at the top of that one, on the Parliament Street side, there's a pub called The Vaults. I'm not so keen on.
Oh, Pavement Vaults.
Vaults, yeah.
Yeah. It's yet another one that it looks really eccentric. It looks like almost like a gastropub in a way. It feels fancy, and they've got like a downstairs, which it's probably meant to be quite gimmicky, but it really isn't. It's just a downstairs.
Yeah.
And I mean, their selections are okay, still yet again pricey. And I mean, if you're looking for something a bit more outside the box like we are, it's not quite that.
In that spot.
Yeah, no. It's at a good location, but it's just not quite for us, I think.
So speaking of that type of pub, which is again, it's got its quirks. It's worth having a look at.
I mean, it's nice.
An older pub, but there's one, and I think going back to Spark, isn't Red Lion right by Spark?
Yes, right next to Spark. Yeah.
Because that looks. If you like oldie worldy pubs,
then it's perfect for you. Yeah,
then, it's great, and you're going to get mainstream. And I can't remember if they might have neck oil. They might have the.
I don't think they did, because we had like just a typical kind of golden ale or something, because we didn't have much choice, and we were only in there for the one, and we both were just like, so this isn't for us.
Kind of a lager place or a bitter.
Yeah.
But again, it's got the old. It's again the quirky kind of older place, and it's always packed.
It's good if that's what you're looking for. Then it's 100% what you would expect.
Absolutely.
It doesn't disappoint on that factor. Right, I'm going to pee, and then I say we open a beer.
What we got?
Going for Lagudel to start with.
Lagudel.
Yeah. We're going to start us off not too hard, and then depending on how we feel from there, we'll...
It takes us.
Yeah, exactly.
So in terms of content on pubs, well, we've got a roll now, but if we went down the path of doing a pub tour, well, I mean, not just a conversation, but actually doing the tour and doing some sort of coverage of that. I was talking to Nick about this when we were a few weeks ago in Leeds. We were sat in a place that we've gone to quite often since then, actually, called Harewood. It's called Harewood House, I think it's called.
In Leeds.
Yeah, in Leeds. It's a pretty cool place, although you're starting to get tired of it. But there was a young lady or a couple of young ladies sat in a corner when we were there, and they had a big mic or something like that, and it looked like they were doing some sort of recording or doing some sort of podcast, something like that.
Absolutely could have been.
And that's what I was saying. Hey, this is me and Nathan have talked about maybe doing pub thing. Maybe this is an idea because he's always wanted to. He's always he likes writing, and he's written diaries and books, and he's tried to write books, and he's written sketches for TV and things like that. He's always wanted to make some sort of TV program or something like that. I said, well, we could do like a radio or a podcast, but something like this where we have our banter when we're going out, which was. It can get aggressive, but it certainly can be very entertaining and very funny. That might be but then we talked about this as well, you and me, and you got the kind of logistics to think about. You've got very expensive equipment, and you're going down getting increasingly drunk unless you've got a designated engineer that's going to make sure that everything's taken care of.
Exactly, unless you've got a production crew or something like that who are going to sort out all the details. It kind of reminds me of Hearts.
Cheers. No.
Cheers, of course. Yeah, that's a nice little sound for you guys. It reminds me of the fact that Ryan and Shane, who used to work for BuzzFeed, now obviously watch her on YouTube. And one show they now do with their own production crew is called Too Many Spirits, where it's literally people send in stories to them. They read them out loud. They progressively just get more drunk while they read them. And it's like, that's the show.
Right.
And they split it up, so they literally record the whole thing in one night. And the first episode, they're having one drink. Second episode, they're having a second drink.
Right.
Third episode, so they're able to make 4 episodes in one night of just drinking, reading stories. And you're like, what a simple but fun concept.
Yeah.
And in which case, I think it'd be more fun to be able to go to pubs and actually talk about them, maybe discuss their history, just ramble and shit like that, absolutely. Because it's yet again, I think it's the inclusivity of... Some people don't always have that luxury of being able to go out with their friends and stuff like that, or for some people might have social anxiety, but maybe they crave it, they'd love to be able to be part of a group of people or get in that kind of environment, but, maybe they'd feel awkward, maybe they don't know how to do it, there's a variety of reasons why people would enjoy that kind of content, or like some people just want a bit of background noise while they do stuff, and for some reason maybe they like the idea of a couple of random guys being drunk at a pub.
Yeah.
It's just a weird comforting thing for some reason, but people say they want it. I don't know. So it's just.
So I just think in terms of Nick anyway, and that personality, it's definitely what happens between me and him, which is why part of the reason we enjoy hanging out in pubs so much is because we just get a banter going. So after a little while, it doesn't take very long, and we get some sort of banter. Sometimes it goes, really in a bad place. But
it just happens.
But usually it stays pretty well behaved, and it's generally pretty funny. We find it funny, and we both got I think pretty we like to laugh at that. We've got good sense of humour. So we always just come up with really interesting, funny, original stuff that's makes us laugh. But even when we've been around other people, mainly if we're arguing, that's people find that entertaining.
Yeah.
But also, just the topic. I mean, that's a bit like me and Gaz. So me and Gaz people used to find us amusing because we were arguing. So if we're propping the bar up, especially if there's a trivia quiz going, and even with me, Nick, the same thing, that would cause a massive row between us. and that people, again, would find that very entertaining to watch that happening.
People do like drama.
Yeah.
And the best part about this kind of drama is the fact that it is somewhat normal, obviously, and it doesn't actually result in bad blood.
No.
Which is I think it's a key part of it. It's probably a big reason why people watch drama soaps like EastEnders and stuff like that. Yeah, there might be dramatic things and people have rows and stuff, but you can always come back to the show and it's still going to be what you would expect it to be.
But usually for us, even if it's dramatic, even if it's getting a little bit, feisty, there tends to be a humorous edge to it. So there's a funny edge to it. It's like taking Mickey out of each other and that escalating.
Yeah. And one of you's just gone a bit too far.
Yeah. It can do unless we control
it. Happens. It totally happens. Yeah, I get that.
But we definitely can have a laugh. And if I don't know what that would look like on camera or what it sound like in it but I sense parts of it would be very funny.
Oh, I definitely think so. I definitely think so.
Well, when we did this 50th birthday trip around the States, where there was a whole bunch of us, and essentially we were just mostly going out getting drunk most of the time. And he was keeping a diary throughout, and it's meant to be a comedy diary. And I say that it is funny when he's ready to. He refused to read it to us for a long time because I took umbrage over certain. He'd given me a little preview, a sneak preview, and I took umbrage over some comments he was making about me. So he's having little digs at people along the way, including himself.
In the Comedy Journal, yeah.
In the Comedy Journal, and I just took umbrage at when he gave me the preview. So then he just said, "Right, I'm not going to let anybody else."
That's it. You ruined it for everyone.
I've ruined it for everyone. And he went through that for about a year or two, and eventually he released little bits of it to my brothers who enjoyed it. It was really funny. But again, it's a step away further from the actual banter, but it does reflect the banter and the silly goings on that we would capture in on a tour on a little pub crawl.
Yeah.
Like the wall crawl, that's something we've talked about. Going out.
Wall crawl
I think
cool.
that would be an interesting thing, because I think that periodically around the wall, you have a gate, which is called a bar. So I think we've talked about this before, that the
Monkgate Bar, for example.
Yeah, the Old English name for a gate is a bar, so they're all called bars. Yep. And the old Viking name for a street is a gate. So when you hear about Gudrun Gate or Monkgate is actually the street, it's not the gate.
Yep.
The gate is called Monkgate Bar because bar means gate.
Bar is the gate. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
try to keep up.
There's bars all the way around the wall at periodic spots, and at every one of these bars there is a bar, an actual bar, like a pub bar. Like a modern English, version of a bar. So for example, Fat Badge is one of those. So that's is it the Booth something, whatever. The next one.
I forget the name of it. Yeah.
It's the next one along from Monkgate.
Near the Minster, yeah.
Yeah. So if you get on the wall here at Monkgate, that's near where we are, Monkgate Bar. If you get on there and then you go head towards the God knows what direction, west, east, whatever. So if you imagine getting from this side, going up the steps, and they're going off that way.
Where would you go? Towards the Minster?
Yeah. Or that way around the Minster, essentially.
Right.
And that takes you to the first place, the first bar that takes you to.
Is Fat Badger.
First bar being a gate bar has the pub bar next to it is Fat Badger. So you're walking along, and the wall is going down the beer garden. Because Fat Badger's got a nice
beer garden, yeah.
Nice beer garden
with a lodge, which confused us for the longest time, because you would think it's some kind of like outside cabins or something like that. It looks mostly enclosed, but it's got a curtain in there. So it's in their beer garden. It's a building. They call it. I think it's called like the lodge or whatever, and. Yeah. Nobody knows what it is.
I saw people going into it when we were there. But
it must have just been some kind of like indoor-outdoor seating kind of thing. Yeah. Because clearly people went in.
Yeah. Why has it got a curtain then?
I don't know, because it just felt odd to me. Because unless they just need a sign up somewhere that tells you, oh hey, by the way, the lodge is just additional seating. Yeah. Feel free to use it. But they have nothing. So you just go to the beer garden and there's a random building called Fat Badger Lodge, and you're like. You don't even bother peering in because obviously we want to be polite. You want to have banners and not get in trouble of doing things you shouldn't be doing. So nobody even bothers to check it out. But people are always very curious. I mean, while we were there for the hour, tons of people were curious about it, ourselves included. And eventually, some people went in and we were just like, I guess it is just additional seating. We never got confirmation of it though. It would just be nice to just to know.
Figure out what that was. Yeah. Exactly. So that's another pub. That's at the other end from where we're talking about, quite a long way from Parliament Street, right down the other end.
Yeah, like I said, it's closer to the Minster than some Fat Badger and whatever that gate is.
And the beer is it's something Booth something, not Booth Town, Booth Bar, or I don't know, something like that.
Could be Booth Bar.
I thought it was Booth something anyway. I might be wrong.
I'm not sure. I'd look it up, but. That's my phone.
Oh, right, okay.
So I can't.
Can somebody Google that for us, please?
Yeah, okay. Can you let us know? Because we're not going to do it.
Yeah, exactly. That chemist was there. What was that? That was right by the path. So that was.
Wasn't that Gilligate Chemist?
Gilligate, yeah. Although it's not.
Even though it's not Gilligate.
It's not Gilligate Bar. Even though that is Gilligate, isn't it?
Yeah, the Gilligate Chemist is not on Gilligate.
No, it is on Gilligate.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's on the other end of Gilligate.
It's on the other end of Gilligate,
yeah.
Feels like there's two Gilligates.
Yeah, well, it's just one long Gilligate.
Yeah, but it's not though. So it's
like weird interconnected thing.
It changed into other streets and then maybe changed
and eventually becomes Gilligate again.
Yeah,
exactly. Maybe a long time ago it was just one long Gilligate.
Yeah, I think.
But obviously over time it's clearly.
I think it probably was originally one.
And I guess they just never bothered to rename the second half of it into something else. So I'll just keep it as Gilligate.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean that's the only logical explanation I've got for that.
Yeah.
As to why there's two Gilligates, but it's only one Gilligate.
So if you find yourself down on the other side of Gilligate, not far from the Fossgate tap we were talking about, but instead of going across the Parliament Street, which is the main part of town, really, you turn right and you walk down what's called the Stone Bow,
where all the buses are.
You'll go past the pub called the Stone Bow, which I don't know that I don't think we've even been in the Stone Bow. I can't remember.
No,
I haven't been in that, so I can't really talk about that.
That's opposite Fossgate Tap, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks all right, but I've never been in that.
Yeah, no, we haven't been in. We have been in. Is it Black Swan?
Yeah, I was going to say you carry on walking, and opposite the part of Gilgate we were just talking about is on the Stone Bow is the Black Swan, which is again. I'm pretty sure that said it was haunted. Certainly felt haunted. It's got atmosphere to it.
Yeah, so it's definitely
it's
one
a
of
very
the older
old
pubs,
pub,
isn't it? Yeah.
Kind of Tudor style. And
it's all right.
Yeah, it's all right.
It's got some decent stuff. Guinness, if you like. Yeah. Guinness, that's good.
Yeah, that's fairly mainstream. Again, I'm trying to wonder if that had neck oil. No, I think I had Old Peculiar there.
Yeah, Old Peculiar. That was
Old Peculiar in terms of ales on tap. But,
a bit of Theakston. Yeah, I mean, it's yet again, it's another choice where it's like, you know what you're getting into when you walk into it. It's a perfectly nice place, but it's just not a place.
I mean, it's extremely quirky. A lot of these pubs are. They're very quirky. The rooms are strangely shaped and designed. It's a little bit dark and not particularly well lit, but not in a bad way. You can see what's what.
Yeah.
You can see it's got lots of character to it.
Absolutely.
So it's a very, very, kind of quirky. The Red Lion's somewhat similar. Golden Fleece is somewhat similar. But it's just, the kind of beer... It's what we would consider like old school or mainstream. It's stuff that's
something you can get almost everywhere.
Yeah, and
there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously there's a reason for that.
Yeah,
but it's it's nice to change it up every once in a while, and we just have more particular tastes as time goes on.
I wonder if the reason is that a lot of these pubs probably are tied to breweries, aren't they? So,
because
in our experience working in pubs, pubs are tied to breweries, especially in Cornwall. Tied to a brewery that restricts you.
100%.
What you're putting on.
100%. Whereas there's probably a lot more independent businesses in New York. I mean, we've even got that little flyer thing about independent businesses in New York. So they probably are allowed to do whatever they want, which is probably why they become a lot more successful, at least in our eyes.
Yeah.
For all we know, it might not be true, but it looks it. It looks it.
Feels like it.
It does feel like it.
No.
No.
That's a little tour around parts of York.
Yeah. Because there's still far too much of York to kind of cover. And I think that's, obviously, we're happy to keep giving you more information if that's what you want. If you want us to keep kind of giving you this drinking tour of York, as we will do it. We'll happily do it if that's what you'd like. It just might have to be split up into multiple episodes because there's too much cover. I mean, when we did the pub crawl with the guys from Leeds, we hit quite a number of pubs, and that still was like not even half of York. I mean, there's still tons of pubs and bars that we haven't even gone to.
Yeah.
There's
tons that we have gone to, but even outside of that, there's still loads more.
Oh yeah, it's just
we've probably scratched the surface. We've probably hit about 20%.
For all we know, I mean, it feels like we have done more, but at the same time, I mean, you just suddenly find a random street that you haven't seen before, and you're like, there's 4 more right there that I don't recognize. It's just astounding. It really, really is. But I love it. I just wish I had the money to go explore them all.
Obviously, if our loving fans can build up our support and give us a bit of earning, then
we'll ask for a little donation thing, and you guys can fund our ventures of drinking and exploring. We'll talk history too if that's what you want. Just throw money our way, and we'll do whatever you want. It's fine.
Tell you about the ghosts.
Yeah, York based will do. Anything outside of that costs extra.
We've got travel costs, probably overnight stay costs.
Yeah. Well, obviously we'll discuss that if that's in demand.
Yeah.
Maybe £5,000 minimum kind of stuff.
I think you could do on a cheaper budget.
Well, no, of course, but we might as well make some good money out of it if we're actually going to start hitting some places. Like, fuck it, we might as well have a good budget then. Yeah. Because then we can spread that out easily over like 2 months of hitting all kinds of places and do whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Food for thought. I'll do something with that, I'm sure, but I wouldn't even know how to. I'll set up a GoFundMe or some shit. I don't know. I'm ready for another beer. I might go grab one. Yeah. I could just zoom in on the video.
You could just zoom in, yeah.
Yeah, or you could just save me the effort. That's actually quite appreciated.
I don't know if it's getting a good focus on it exactly from looking at which is the lens there.
Well, it's a great question. All I know is it's in widescreen, so it's capturing a bunch of the room, and then I just kind of crop it from there.
Right. Okay.
Because that way I can make it look however I want. It's fine.
Okay.
And if we start taking this more seriously in the future, I'm going to have probably 2 more cameras. So we got the big wide one, and then I'll have one that's like focused on me and one that's focused on you. In case we start monologuing, I could just have it focus on that person for a bit, which I think it'd be just a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, there's your Amity Beer Fest.
Yeah. And then I've got the Brewdog glass. Yep. I was going to say, I thought you had a Brewdog, but I don't think you do. I think you had your punk the other day, didn't you?
I might have drunk it.
Yeah, because I didn't see it. I've got my double hazy, but I don't have your punk. Let's see, what am I feeling? I might do double hazy.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh, I can do it with or without your permission.
Well, I was going to say, I don't mind splitting it.
Oh yeah, of course we'll split it. We're now going on to Brewdog, which we were talking about earlier with Punk IPA. This though is Double Hazy Jane, which is it's a fair strength actually. I think it's 7.2%.
Yeah, that's a heavy one.
But
Hazy Jane in itself is already quite heavy. Wow.
£2.50. And it was in the 4 for 3 bundle. That's why I was like, I'm getting that. Because the triple hazy, which is just insane to even think about.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like £3 something, which is still really cheap.
Get me £1.25 worth of that bad boy.
Oh, absolutely, right?
Or girl. Since it's Jane, can't call it a bad boy if it's called Jane.
Because I mean, I definitely like the regular hazy Jane, but I like the fact they do a double and a triple as well. I'm just sitting there like, you guys really know what you're doing. You're just trying everything a Brewdog, and you got to respect it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I know, I sure do. Well, cheers.
Yeah, cheers. And that's hazy.
It's double hazy.
It's double hazy.
Oh, it tastes it. That's the stuff. That's nice. That's real nice. Get through another month. It feels good. It feels real good. Just do a little unwind. But this is the beauty of it. This is all just fun, good content that people will enjoy. I don't have to cut a lot of it out. It's just kind of a bonus thing. It's just fun. It's just nice.
Like from the cutting room floor.
Yeah, exactly. You get
cold cuts and see what you like. And if you like something about it, we'll develop that.
Well, it's like how people are always like, you should have behind the scenes content. It's like, yeah, but there's nothing really. It's nothing exciting. There's nothing really to show you. It's just like it's me at a computer, mostly editing stuff. Which, by the way, is mainly me just listening to it all the way through, cutting out certain parts.
Yeah,
it's kind of it. Yeah. It's not exciting. There's nothing fun about it. Oh, do you want me to give you an interview while I'm behind the scenes? It's what can you do with that? Whereas at least when you've got interesting stuff that you can cut out, that's just snippets of bonus. Little bits of things here and there, which is nice. Or in our case, I mean, a lot of it stays in because it's like, we don't have to take it out. Exactly. So why fucking bother?
Well, we're freestyling, aren't we? So
exactly. This is our content. We're allowed to do what we want with it, and the way I see it, we got nothing to hide. Might as well leave it all in. It's just fun.
No, exactly, and people can pick and choose. And again, if people like certain things and respond to certain,
people skip all kinds of crap all the time. Exactly, so they can do what they want. I mean,
they can tell us what they want out of what we've done.
Absolutely,
that's pretty cool.
Which is important. Feedback is always important, and I take it quite seriously. I think at first it was mostly just like, certain audio levels weren't quite right, it's good for me to be able to learn all this stuff because unless I 100% do test recordings all the time and absolutely double check everything, which I would just have no time to actually put out content. So that's why I'm like, okay, I have to trust what people are telling me, and sure enough, it makes a big difference because now recently they were like, I'd like it if maybe the volume were higher. And I'm like, okay, well, I thought the volume was high, but I was wrong. So now my most recent content, the volume is much higher. And it's increased my like average percent viewed. And I'm sitting there like, that's nice. All I have to do is just increase the volume so people can just manually adjust it more themselves and people consume it better. And I'm like, that's really nice. That's just, it was a nice little bit of feedback and it's made a big difference, So feedback is important. Definitely let us know what you want to see more of because we can do it. If you want us to do more rambles like this was probably about 10 minutes of setup and then we just kind of kicked everything off and that's it. If you want us to do a live one as well, by the way, definitely let us know, because that's an easy one to do.
Or if you want us to take the equipment out on the road,
then we're gonna have to start talking budget. But it's doable. It's absolutely doable. If you want us to bring Nick involved, maybe for one of these excursions, we can do that. Just let us know.
Absolutely.
I mean, we might have to pay for his beer, but I think as long as you guys are going to help us out with it, it's doable. It's doable.
Absolutely. Yeah, could be very entertaining.
Yeah, I think it'd be great fun. Or if there's maybe certain pubs you want us to check out, that would be good actually too. Let us know some of your favourite places in New York to go to, or even ones that you think we would like, or maybe ones you think we would hate. In which case, we'll avoid them. Unless you pay us to go there, then I'll do it. If you pay us to go there, I'll do it.
Make it a day.
Even if I don't like it.
Yeah.
That's, you paid for it, so you
make
get
us do shit we don't like doing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Don't make us drink beer we don't like.
Well, no,
especially.
ideally,
But I mean, you can if you want to.
Yeah. In which case, I might have half of one. I might not have a full one. Unless you're paying me a ridiculous amount of money, I'm not going to really torture myself with stuff I don't want to do.
What's the name of that pub where Guy Fawkes was born? Is it Guy Fawkes? Is it called
Guy Fawkes Inn, yeah.
Guy Fawkes Inn, yeah.
Yeah. Because they didn't know what else to call it. So they just doubled down on the Guy Fawkes bit.
Why not?
Yeah, which is fair enough. It's a cute little pub. Guy Fawkes Inn, got a restaurant attached to it, which is more restaurant than pub. So yeah,
that's right by the Minster. The Minster's like again for people that are not from this country, have never really heard of York or never been there. The Minster's like a huge cathedral type building. It's very old, got lots of history, like most things in York. It's huge, very very imposing, very very beautiful architecture. Takes up a lot of space and attracts lots of tourists, but. The Guy Fawkes,
huge amount of tourists.
York has got lots of little windy streets coming out, jetting off it. So if you imagine from Harry Potter movies, Diagon Alley, that's actually is in York. The scene that the street where they actually filmed it, it was a real street.
The Shambles Street.
The Shambles in York, which is interesting in itself. So and York has got lots of little streets and things like that. It's that kind of a place. Yeah. But the Guy Fawkes. Just to, for the benefit of, I guess, from our American viewers, Guy Fawkes is a key person in English history. You might, if you don't know, not heard of him from the English history perspective, I'll give you a thumbnail on that in a second. But if you don't know references to the Guy Fawkes, if you've ever seen V for Vendetta, for example, or have you ever seen videos with Anonymous, the mask that's the Guy Fawkes mask. So that's meant to look like him.
Yep. And if you haven't seen V for Vendetta, I mean. What are you kidding yourself? That's a great film to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. Watch that. Yeah. If we do a little show off there. So Guy Fawkes essentially was somebody who was a part of a plot, a Jesuit plot, which is a Catholic, a group of Catholic conspirators in the time when Catholics were being persecuted and being kind of put down by the Protestant king at the time, King James. After Henry VIII. Basically took over, but he decided he was going to take over in order so that he could divorce his wife, so that he could marry a second wife.
Potentially try to have a son.
And he couldn't get the Pope to authorise the divorce. So what he did was he just said, right, I'm just going to create my own church, and I'm going to put myself at the top of it. I'm sick and tired of the Pope.
Which, by the way, will allow me to do what I want to do.
Yeah, exactly, and that's how the Church of England was formed. Essentially, it started off like that, and in the following few kings and queens, etc. There was were all Protestant, all part of that Church of England faith, and the Catholics were kind of put down massively for a period of time. And then for a period of time, there was a Catholic king or queen in place, and the opposite happened. They got the revenge on the Protestants and burned them at the stake and all the rest of it. So during one of these periods when there was a Protestant king, and I think it was King James, a group of Catholic conspirators, and I don't know if they were based in York, but certainly Guy Fawkes was born in York. From the outskirts of the provinces, were decided that they were going to make a statement. They were going to blow up Parliament, which the House of Parliament, which is essentially similar to Congress in the States. It's our seat of government, and in the middle of that, what we call the gunpowder plot, where they put a whole bunch of barrels of gunpowder underneath, and during what they were just about to kind of set that off, they got captured. The guy. It was actually called Guy or
Fawkes.
Guido. Yep. Guido Fawkes was one of the main protagonist. So he was the one who was actually.
He was going to be the one who was going to set it off, wasn't he?
He's the one that was going to set it off. Yeah, he wasn't the main guy, but he was the one that was charged with setting it. He got caught.
Yep.
Then later on, hung, drawn, and quartered, and burnt at the stake, and we've celebrated that burning of him at the stake for centuries afterwards. And every year on the 5th of November, we burn an effigy at the stake called the Guy. We call it the Guy, on a big bonfire, and everybody does it all around the country. And it's called Bonfire Night on the 5th of November.
Yep. That's right.
So anyway, that's Guy Fawkes, and he was born here in York. And
pub,
he's now where he was born is now a pub called the Guy Fawkes Inn.
Yep. Which is, like I said, more restaurant than pub.
Mm.
Yep.
It really is, isn't it?
Which also, it's yet again, it's a little gastro. It's a little old school, not the best beer selection if you're looking for that.
Yeah.
But I mean, the food's probably nice. We just haven't tried it. So.
Yeah, I think we didn't go down the back. The back looked like it had a bit of a beer garden or something like that. Which we
I thought that was tied in with the restaurant, so I don't know if we could have.
Yeah, it might have been, yeah.
Because I think after us there was like a little family who did try to go out there, but I think they
you got to be eating to do. Yeah, it's a bit annoying.
I think that's what happened. Yeah, exactly. It's a shame, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's that little tangent dealt with.
It's all good. It's all good content. So that's the beauty of it. Just dad and lad ramble. That's all it is. That's all the podcast is. It's just us rambling about shit. It doesn't have to be about films. It could just be. That's probably what I'll just call this. Just us rambling. We're just having a ramble at the end of the month. Yeah. Having a nice little time. Just talking about whatever we want to talk about. Obviously, I'll mention that we're talking a lot about York.
Yeah.
But
and drinking certain types of beer.
Yeah. So we're in a way we're a tourist guide.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, mainly a beer tourist guide.
Yeah.
But we're also mentioning certain places to go and a bit of history and stuff. So it's insightful. We're educational at the moment.
We are educational.
And we're paying ourselves in nice beer that we enjoy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we're not sponsored by anybody, so.
No. But if Brewdog, if you're out there and you're interested in sponsoring, because we're talking about how much we like your beer, or any other breweries for that matter.
Yeah, we will. You can definitely email me at nathandooling@gmail.com. It'll probably be in the description. Definitely let me know, because we'll definitely talk business. You know.
Actually, I do know the owner of Amity, so I might even
you might
speak to him and his wife and say, "Hey, listen, we're mentioning your beer. We're not drinking your beer, not yet, but we will. I mean, they've got some really good beers. Yeah,
we could absolutely could do an episode drinking certain kind of beers. We could do that. That's
right. Product placement for you.
Yeah, exactly.
In a massive audience.
Yeah. We'll connect people to a shop and stuff, which obviously, I mean, who's not going to check out a beer shop? That's just fun, isn't it? Especially if they get like 10% off or something like that.
Absolutely.
Not saying we have any of that. Don't think we do. We don't. Yeah. I'd love it if we did, in which case this could definitely become more of a regular occurrence. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.